Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's beautiful here in Virginia, so it's a good day as we approach the end of the year. We're not yet at that point. I hope that whatever you're doing, you're gonna be hunkering down with your family and so forth. This will be unlike other New Year's Eves, I suppose. We have a lot to be grateful for, even as we have the struggles on the Hill. And the struggle on the Hill, putting aside everything I've said before about how we got here, what do I think we do now? Well, the contest on the Hill is divided into two parts. The Senate is likely to override Trump's veto on the defense bill, despite the fact that there are a number of things in that bill that Trump thought were veto worthy. The Congress doesn't think so and will pass that bill. And it may get delayed a little bit because Bernie Sanders hopes that by delaying it, he can force some people to support the $2,000 for individuals as part of the stimulus bill. Mitch McConnell is divided himself because he has some Republicans that want to vote for the $2,000. Perhaps to overcome past hypocrisies, inconsistencies, etc. And maybe, just because it's the right thing to do. But Mitch is thinking of including poison pills, meaning that, sure, you can vote for the $2,000 if you also agree to set up a commission which would basically seek to compromise access to the vote. In other words, it's a voter suppression technique having to do with mail-in ballots and things like that. The second provision that he wants is one that would compromise freedom in social media. Right now, the Facebook and Twitter and these other services are not themselves subject to liability when you stand up in the equivalent of the digital public square and say something. I frankly think that with all the problems, that's a better approach. Maybe it's like the Boston Commons. You don't hold Boston responsible for what people say standing on the stump at the Boston Commons. The argument from the Democrats, I think, should be something along the lines of Mitch doesn't want to help those people who could use that additional $1,400. In other words, they're getting $600 arrived in the mail, or will. It's been transferred to some bank accounts already. So it's the difference that they would get. He doesn't want them to get that $2,000 total. And the proof of it is he has these poison pills. You can have that $2,000 to help that person during the pandemic, but we want you to compromise voting, democracy, and we want you to compromise the First Amendment to get them these funds. Well, Democrats are not going to agree to that. I don't know how Republicans can agree to that. And I assume that McConnell's doing, head counts to figure out if that will split the delegation and nothing will pass. Of course, even if it did pass with the Republicans, and I'm not sure that it can, the House would have to vote for it, and they wouldn't. It would never get to the president's office for him to, in Mar-a-Lago, to have him sign it or not. So there's that. It's all going to sort out in the end. What I hate about it is it gives a false credit to the two senators down in Georgia, the Republicans, who are saying, yeah, we're for the 2,000, ignoring the fact these are the ones who lulled America into believing there was nothing to worry about from the pandemic while they were taking economic advantage of it. Now, the voters must know that. There's been such an intense amount of ads and so forth down there. And I don't know if what the Senate's doing has confounded the message or not, but the message is really simple. These people are having a political deathbed conversion. Now they care about helping the people from the pandemic when they were prepared merely to lie to them and take advantage of it before. So I think that's how you deal with it. I mean, it's a truthful response. It fits the facts. It should be persuadable to anybody with a 60 IQ. We have the Trump people are persisting in additional appeals to the Supreme Court from Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. It won't go anywhere. I mean, after all, we've had the states have counted and recounted and confirmed the vote. The Electoral College has supported Biden as the president-elect. And on January the 6th, Pence is telling various people he's not going to do anything extraordinary. And if some senator gets up and makes some cockamamie motion, it's basically going to lose after a lot of debate in the Senate and the House, probably on a single day. So we're headed toward the confirmation of Biden as the president-elect. See how easy it is to get confused? And he will be sworn in on January the 20th. Between now and then, we can expect more shenanigans. Good news is that in the courts, they did pass, enter an order, 2-to-1 decision, giving power to the House on a special rule the House has to summon documents from Trump's hotel in D.C., where he's been getting all those funds and so forth. And the decision basically was, since the House has this rule for a special minority vote to get a subpoena, and since we defer jurisdiction to the House on something like this, that's what we're going to do. And that's what they did do. I guess it'll be appealed to the Supreme Court, but it kind of fits what both the liberal and the conservative wing of the court, that decision. So I assume it'll be upheld. You never know these days, especially as you get into shakier institutions like those that have been dominated by Trump's appointments. You know, the three horsemen of the Trump administration, although there's one woman, Barrett. So today is chilly, but refreshing and invigorating. America is on the march to its restoration. One by one, like a bad series on TV, we're beating back the insanity that's become the Republican Party, the majority of it anyhow. And so be well. I'll talk to you tomorrow before the new year. Bye-bye.